Hey everybody, Mark Masters, Always Bookin Comedy. It's Monday night, so we got another great episode. We got Erin Rose from Denver, Colorado. She runs a wild show. We'll get into that. It's weird. It's different. Maybe weird is unfriendly. It's unique, and
Yeah,
she's just coming off High Plains Comedy Festival, and so I'm sure we'll talk about all kinds of fun stuff. How you doing tonight, Erin?
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm doing great. It's like we said, it's crazy weekend and it was so fun. And then now I back in the office today, so it's a little bit of a energy shift. So
Yeah.
yeah, how are you doing?
Any special highlights from the weekend?
Oh yeah. The highlights from the weekend, I feel like the entire weekend was a highlight. Every show was absolutely packed with some really good crushers. One of my favorite shows to watch was the Rory Scovel Make 'em Ups. For an hour and a half, he did improv.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Uh, would people like shout out things, or was he just rambling?
Just rambling. Sometimes the audience would talk a little bit, but other than that, it was just him like a conscious stream of comedy, just making it up as he goes. He had a piano player there. AJ Holmes was also a comedian, but played piano in the background. Sometimes they would have like fun little songs that they made up too. But I was just in awe the whole time. Like I can't even imagine being up there for more than like 20 minutes.
That is
So
what, 90
yeah,
minutes. That's
yeah.
cool. AJ Holmes from Broadway fame, right? Book of
Yes,
Mormon.
yeah, he was at, I'm just shouting people out now, but yeah, he starred in, what is it, Book of Mormon at the Buell Theater in Denver. So,
Yeah,
yeah, kind of fun.
super
It's just a
cool.
bunch of
Super cool.
crosses. What was
Well,
your
very
favorite
cool.
show?
High Plains Comedy Festival.
Yeah,
It's every fall in Denver.
yeah,
11th year this year. Pretty neat. Pretty
yeah,
cool event.
yeah.
So let's go backwards.
Yeah.
When did you get started in comedy? Why? How, why,
Wow.
what, where, when?
Yeah, definitely. I got started in comedy about it's 3-ish years ago, almost three. We're almost at my 3-year mark. If time seriously just flies. And do you want the short version or like the longish version?
Let's go longish.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so it won't be that long, I promise. But so I lived in Fort Collins, and before they had the Comedy Fort, which is now a huge comedy club up in Fort Collins, north of Denver, they did a weekly free show Thursday nights. It was David Rodriguez and Dan, and they threw on these awesome shows, and Dan Jones, sorry, and I would just go every Thursday night. And one day they were like, yeah, we have an open mic and stuff. So you too can try comedy. And it kind of planted the seed. And I was like, I love this so much. And then I didn't do it though. So it took a breakup. I broke up with my then boyfriend and I moved to Denver like maybe a year or two after that. And then I was like, I'm bored. And my biggest thing on my bucket list was to do stand up comedy and do one open mic. So I started in Christy Buckley's class, which was a nice introduction to stand up. And once I did one open mic, I was like, I can't stop now. This is so fun. And that's
Nice.
it. I guess it wasn't that long, was it? So
No, it's a great origin story. Um, so you're doing stand up then? Are you hitting a lot of mics when you got started? How did you get so good so quickly?
Oh, thanks. It's funny. I still feel like, I have so much to learn. But yeah, I think one Christie's class was such a nice foundation of like one etiquettes of mics, how to, and like small things that you wouldn't think of on stage to like move the mic stand or how to host things like that. So that was great. And then open mics, I was hitting them a lot, especially in the beginning. I was just having a lot of fun with it and just like playing around. And it took a second to like find like a comedy stuff. I think everyone starts out doing one form of comedy and then they find their voice over time. I feel like I'm starting to find it now, which is good. But yeah, going to a lot of open mics. We have a lot of options in Denver for sure. So Irish
Nice.
Rover was one of my first.
There you
Yeah.
go. That was my first mic, Irish Rover. Monday nights.
Really?
They're gonna happen tonight. Yeah. Um,
Like,
so you run some shows. How did you get into running your first show?
it was, oh, gosh, how was it? Yeah, we've been running it for a little over 2 years now. I had mentioned again to Christy Buckley, just shouting out we have so many great comics in Denver, obviously, and in Colorado. So that's why I keep shouting them out. But I had mentioned to her that I was like, I really want to host the show. And a couple of months later, she's like, actually, like someone just reached out to me. She used to host a show at Bierstadt Lager House. And I met with them because they were looking to put on a comedy show again. And so that comedy show is awesome. But if you've ever been to Bierstadt Lager House, it is a big open warehouse where sound is not good to talk in there. No one listens. There's like a bunch of like really fun bar games and stuff. It's a wonderful place. Not good for comedy. So eventually, like after like I want to say like a little less than around a year mark, we have to do something different. So we started doing a silent disco style where audience members wore headphones and they can still play games around and they see us on stage and it's really fun. So it's different. And you're right. It is weird. You can call it weird.
Okay.
In a fun way.
How did you get the headphones?
That was all Bierstadt's idea too. We were thinking about different ways we could have the audience listen in, maybe move upstairs, but even that would still be a lot of noise. And honestly, we were getting a couple of complaints from the facility next door. I don't want to name names, but they were upset because they shared an area with us and they didn't want to hear our comedy, I guess, which is kind of funny. So Bierstadt was like, hey, I think wouldn't it be fun if we did like silent disco? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we tried it out with one time with headphones. We rented them. And Bierstadt is super supportive. So they handled everything, which is so nice. It went so well that they're like, yeah, we already bought them. We already bought a set for ourselves. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't think they use them for anything but comedy, which is kind of funny. So I have
Wow. Is it a monthly?
Yes. So it's every last Friday of the month. We try to get like new comics on every single month. And yeah, it's just it's a wild, fun time,
That's cool. So how is it different? I've never been to a silent comedy
Yeah.
show. Like what surprised you positively, maybe negatively?
Yeah. So again, it's different. So we have to go in with a positive mindset. It's still a comedy showcase, but I always tell comics like there's some major differences here. So one, if you have ADHD, I'm so sorry, first of all. But yeah, there's a lot going on. So we have chairs in front of the stage, so a lot of audience members will sit. But then you'll even see comedy, or there's some people watching comedy from upstairs with headphones on. You can just look for the blue lights, and they're looking down on the stage. And you'll have people like across the bar, like across the entire warehouse, like playing games and stuff, like giant Jenga or giant like what is it called, like cornhole, and they'll be listening in, but they're not watching technically. So you kind of lose that, like you have to like play it all. I guess it's a positive thing because you have more to play on if you wanted to. The only downside, a little bit of a downside that you can get over, is that you can't really hear the laughter. And audience members love to laugh together. And so in this moment, I still try to encourage them to laugh out loud. But even then, it's like, maybe less so than you would hear. But so your timing might be a little off, or it's just a little different to get used to. So
Are the comedians are they wearing headphones? Can they hear themselves? Are they amplified at all? Or are they just talking into a mic and it goes into the system and it is truly silent?
Yeah, it's truly silent. So they talk into a mic and it goes into the headphones. I always recommend wearing headphones. It's kind of like recording a podcast if you ever just like had headphones on and you talked in. I recommend most comics wear like one on, one off so they can hear the audience still a little bit. But yeah, it just really depends on their preference, but most wear them. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Have you changed the set lengths at all?
I changed. Okay, so when I feel like everyone makes this mistake when they first book a show is they put too many people and they book too long, and that's what I did. I booked too many people and I had too long of sets. So right now we usually have two openers that do 10 minutes, a feature for 15, and then we do about 20 minutes headliner. And even that might change. I'm thinking about actually changing, open to suggestions.
That's pretty short. That's only like an hour show, right?
It's only an hour show. It's very quick. And we like to keep it that way because we do notice like with the headphones, like it it's different. Like audience members don't want to wear headphones for more than an hour. So,
Got it. Okay.
mhm,
Huh.
yeah.
Fascinating. And do you find that certain comics, like styles of comedy, are better? Like, are people who are like big on stage with act outs, do they, because not everybody's actually watching, is that harder for them to do well?
Yes and no. So like again, we have quite a few people who actually do sit down and watch the entire like that we have a lot of chairs out front, which is really fun and they love that. But yeah, I would say, as the show goes on, a couple points here. As the show goes on, more and more people get interested because they're like, why are these people wearing headphones and who's on stage right now? So then they get headphones. So in the beginning, it might be a little sparse, but towards the end, by the headliner, we have so many people just sitting and watching, which is really nice. I would say the people who do the best are always the people who play on the headphones and people who don't wear headphones. I've had a lot of people like look at that guy over there and they just roast people. And then those people who don't have headphones all of a sudden want headphones because they're like, what are they talking about me for? Which is kind of funny. Yeah. And Ben, I think it was really one of the best times. Ben Roy headlined, I think about a year ago now. And for I think it was like 25 or 30 minutes, he didn't do a single joke. He was just riffing and crushing on just like the headphones alone. And it was so fun. So I always tell comics feel free to have fun and do whatever you want, or you can do your jokes and that does just fine as well. People love that too. So
Right.
yeah.
So more generically, just change, talking more about it as just a regular comedy show, what are
Mhm.
some of the challenges you have? And what are some things that maybe you've changed over the years that have been real big positives?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just like as a normal comedy show is how to keep it fresh. I feel like a lot of comedy shows, maybe like when you first start out, everyone wants to come and check it out, and then over time, maybe like how do you get return customers, if you want to say, or
Mhm.
how do you keep it fresh to where people want to say, hey, it's that time of the month, we need to go. And I think for Bierstadt specifically, we have mainly people. It's a blessing and a curse. We have people who just are there at Bierstadt that then go to the comedy show, and I would love to see it be. I want to be at Bierstadt because of the comedy show.
Got it.
Yeah. So, we've tried different forms of promoting and stuff through like Instagram or Eventbrite. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes it doesn't do anything at all. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'd like to work on that for sure.
Do you guys ticket at all?
We don't ticket. No, it's completely
Okay.
free.
Yeah.
It's a free show. We do collect tips, but I mean, otherwise, like I have, and then I do have a set pay for all the comics and stuff, plus tips that we get at the end of the day.
Here's an idea. Maybe you already do this. Have you
Yeah.
thought about collecting email addresses when you give out the headphones?
Oh, well, that could be good. That could be good. I think,
And
yeah. I think my thing was always like trying to get people with the headphones. Like the initial part is always the hardest and the most scary, although it always has worked out every month, which is nice. But convincing people just put on headphones to get headphones. So I think the simple act of putting an email address down would be good. Or even like as they're like putting them away, like, hey, would you like to hear about more shows that were like upcoming shows
yeah.
and people like that? I think that'd be great.
Yep. You could have like a QR code to a Google Doc form and just like if they want to fill it out, they can on their phone. Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, and
Actually,
then I mean if you even if you only get like 10 a month,
yeah,
in a year you have 100 people you're emailing every month, hey, shows tomorrow or whatever.
100%.
Um,
I like that. We have a background too, as comics are doing their thing. We have a background with their Insta handles on there so people can follow, a Venmo for tips in case they want to tip. So it'd be great to add another QR code of like, want to see who's on the next one. Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Let's talk about that in a second. First off, we got a comment from the internet. Aaron had to explain that headphone concept to me twice before I got it. And hello. Well, hello, Jason. Oh, I think I know who that is. That's a guy in Colorado Springs, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Hello.
hi, Jason. That was so
Hello,
funny.
Jason. I'm guessing from the Shig thing because his email address has that in it. Do the headphones change the amount of crowd work that is performed? Jason, going ahead, send us your social security number and mother's maiden name as well, Jason, please. Outing his identity. Runs a great show, everybody. Oscar Blues, if you're ever in Colorado Springs, downtown, go check that out. Sunday nights. It's a free show.
Really
So we
fun.
had a question from North Carolina. Do the headphones change the amount of crowd work that is performed?
I would say not really, actually. I mean, I think, okay, what I've seen before is like a lot of like the openers or features sometimes just stick to jokes. Maybe they'll slide one or two in. But I've noticed like really, really seasoned comics, you know, that are like so like they love riffing. They have no problem with it. They go right into it. So maybe a little bit, depending on the comic. Maybe they're a little bit more scared to do so. But otherwise, I feel like every show someone goes off on it. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I imagine the root of that question is like the interaction between you and the person you're
Yeah.
having a conversation with. It might be harder to start that. So are people more like,
Mhm.
"Hey, gentleman in the red shirt, do you shop at King Supers or whatever?" As
So
opposed, because they can't hear. I don't really understand how the dynamics work with the. I mean,
right.
they can hear, right? But I guess
They
there's
They can hear, but honestly, sorry, I guess I misunderstood that question or I took it the wrong way. So yeah, you're so right. It does limit the amount of crowd work, like an individual interaction, versus like you just saying like, do this or do that. Like
right non-material.
yeah, because you
Right.
can't hear. And like if I tried, trust me, like so many times where I'm like, hey, what about I ask someone a
Are
question.
you hosting these shows?
I'm hosting the shows,
Okay.
yeah. So I host like 99% of them, except when I'm out of town all of a sudden. But yeah, I made the mistake of asking a question, and then I had to say what, and then you just have to be like, all right, never mind, next question, next
Yeah,
topic.
and I guess they
Sorry.
might be less comfortable talking because they have the headphones on. I'm not sure if
It's
that would
just
be a
really
thing.
loud in there too. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, not like so loud to where it's like very distracting, but it's loud enough to where if you have headphones, the audience has headphones, and there's a little bit of noise around. You can't really talk to someone individually. So
Yeah, so that might just be more a factor of the venue. Just
yeah,
because it is. I've been to that show and it is very loud.
yeah,
Just general ambient noise. Like Erin was saying, there are people playing bar games and loud conversations, and it's not like a quiet comedy room. Nobody's
yeah.
getting hushed.
No, you
Everybody's
can
full
talk
party time Friday night.
100%. You can
Yeah.
talk like this right in front of the stage, right by the stage, and no one notices or cares. So, yeah, it's like one. And also, like the plus side to that is that no one can really heckle. We haven't had any hecklers, but if they
There
are
you
heckling,
go.
we don't notice them because yeah,
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
you just look like a total dingus.
That's hilarious. Let's talk about hosting a little bit.
Yeah.
So you've been hosting the show for a couple years. What have you improved? What's been maybe a challenge to hosting? Maybe specifically a headphone show.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's been super helpful. It's been such a great learning experience running this show. That's not just a showcase, but it's a difficult show to run. I mean, at least personally, but I've learned quite a bit because you not only have to get the audience like, hey, describing the show itself and putting headphones on, but also getting them engaged and not afraid to laugh. So I've learned quite a bit of like bringing the energy and different techniques of like getting people louder. Of like, all right, everyone, on the count of three, we're gonna practice laughing as loud as we can. you know,
Nice.
so different techniques like that, and then hosting just becoming smoother with like introduction to the show, my jokes is the and then also introing the comics themselves and making it just like a fun experience overall. So I feel like I've gotten it down over time. So yeah.
Nice. Has anybody ever taped their set and like plugged into the soundboard for the sound? Because I was just thinking about that. If you taped your set, there's no
Yeah.
audio.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, it's funny. There's some comics that get off stage and said, I started recording my set and then I realized that I won't be able to hear it. So, which is really funny. But you just forget it. So you're on autopilot. But we did have a comic recently He came from LA and he plugged in actually his record. You can do that.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it. And he actually sent me my set too. So he had
Oh, cool.
he recorded video and then he also plugged into the soundboard.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
And to you, like, I'm sure you see a lot of tape of yourself. With the sound married to the video, did it seem different, or did it just seem like you were at a regular bar show or club?
Oh, it's different. It's very different.
Different.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think the message here, everybody, is you got to just go check this thing out. It's different. And they have them in other cities, right? This isn't just a Denver
Yeah.
thing.
Thank you. I did see the link that you sent me recently, which is like it is kind of nice seeing someone else do it, and I kind of want to reach out to them just to be like, hey, can we share? How's it going for you? What are some secrets that work for you?
Yeah.
So again, just like trying to keep it fun, and I'm always open to suggestions. So
Nice. Yeah. Erin's referencing an email I sent her. There's a silent comedy festival in New York City coming up that I think is multiple shows or multiple days. I actually didn't click the link. I just saw the headline. I was like, oh, Erin might be interested in this. I'll pass it along.
silent disco. It's Erin.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So what's the Denver show called for Colorado people that want to check it out?
It is called Loggers and Laughs.
Loggers and Laughs. So you can find that online. You just show up. There's no tickets, so just show up. I assume you need like an ID or a credit card to get the headphones.
Yeah, we just take IDs and they like put them in like a little box and stuff. So we take care of it while you guys are in headphones.
Here's a kind of fun story you might be interested in. People might be interested in. Comedy Works used to have a podcast, and Wendy Curtis, who's the owner of Denver's legendary comedy club, was like one of the main people on the podcast, and it's really great. Like people should go listen to all the episodes. They're fantastic. They don't do it anymore, but there's like a whole archive of them, and they're great. And one of the things, I'm pretty sure I learned this from that podcast, is that the reason the South Club exists, so Comedy Works is now 2 clubs. There's the downtown Denver one, and there's like a suburban South one, is because Wendy got a machine to check IDs, and you can check IDs and like it sucks off the data, like the person's name and address and zip code, etc. And she like figured out where people were traveling from in the Denver metro area. And she found out that a lot of people were coming from the tech center area, which is where that club ended up going. So it was good marketing data for her. Getting back to the idea of collecting email addresses, maybe you could like just get one of those. I think the machines are really expensive because I've worked with bars before that have them, but maybe get that and like start, at least you'd have names and stuff of people, but that wouldn't be very helpful because you wouldn't have contact info.
No, that is so smart though. I had no idea that thing existed. I wonder, that's really
cool. You wouldn't even really have to tell. It'd be kind of sketchy not to tell the customer, but you have this stack of IDs, right? So you could just
start writing down their addresses.
Or just manually do it. Just start writing down. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'll just send them a formal invite in the mail.
Yeah, there you go. That's so funny because Comedy Works does do that. Have you ever seen that at holiday time?
No.
They like hand address like thousands of envelopes. I shouldn't be. I feel like that might be a secret, but like you see the staff doing it around the holiday time, and
that's so cool. Well, nowadays that just feels more personal, which is nice. So
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get off if anybody online has more questions about the silent disco comedy, whatever we call it, laughs and loggers and laughs at Beer Stack Garden in Denver, Colorado, every last Friday. Pop them in the chat. But let's talk more about you and your comedy. Any road work outside of Colorado? You've done some travel, been to some other scenes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this year is my first time actually doing any stand-up outside of Colorado, which has been super fun. I actually went and joined the Unteachables. You probably know Joe.
Yeah.
Just for like a little bit. I did 2 shows in Boston with them, which was really fun.
Neat.
Yeah, one of them was at it wasn't little, it was like a theater next to Patriot Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, Foxborough, or is it still called Patriot Place? I think they call it.
Yeah, so
the NFL arena for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, obviously I don't know football, but I can appreciate that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was the first time. And then I actually last weekend went to Fountain City Comedy Festival in Kansas City. So yeah.
Cool. What was that? So what's it like being in a different place? Those are two very different experiences. Let's talk about, let's do the comedy festival first. So
Yeah.
you're going to like an established
Yeah.
festival. Tell me what that was like.
That was really fun. I was really nervous. And I am realizing, like, I mean, it's kind of like, duh, of course, but stand-up comedy is different in different places. That's such an obvious like thing, but you don't realize it until you're there and you're like, oh. Like I feel like it's hard to explain, but I feel like different cities has its own like type of comedy or stand-up comedy. I don't know if you
I,
can.
I was just talking about this last night. I'm back in Colorado now, but I was in Las Vegas last night, and somebody had
Oh,
a very funny joke. It touched on race in a way that
mhm.
I basically was saying to the comic that wouldn't work in Denver. Because just Denver's like, it's kind of woke, it's kind of like super
Yeah.
progressive. Like there are things that you can't, that people just don't want to laugh about.
Yeah.
And but other places, people have different, where the line is different, and what kind of things they want to laugh about. I totally agree with that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. See, yeah, that's awesome. So thank you. I was nervous of saying that, even like, what the heck?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was
She's
like,
basically saying Kansas City, bunch of racists. They're
ah, no.
they're into that stuff.
No, no. No, everyone was, they were all so good and so funny. But yeah, definitely felt like, oh my bad, I don't know. So yeah, no, but all the shows were fantastic. They had such great headliners and everything. And but yeah, it's funny because you can tell the people that were from Denver and the people who were from Kansas just based on their jokes. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting. And then, oh, here we
Different
go.
vibes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
from North Carolina. He's lived in both cities for half a decade, and they have different vibes.
they
Um,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then when you did the like indie show, so basically to catch everybody up, the Unteachables is a group of teachers. They do a touring comedy show. They invite a lot of teachers to the shows. They rent venues or work out door deals with places, and they rented a theater in the Boston area, in a suburb of Boston in this case, and independently produced a comedy show. That's very different than a festival. Actually,
Definitely.
I know, if you're willing to talk about it, I have heard through the grapevine that one specific show maybe wasn't the best show ever. I don't
Yeah.
know if you felt that same way, but how was the experience there?
So yeah, the two shows that I was on, which by the way, I like they had a whole, like you said, like they do these tours every summer, winter, and like fall, even when they have breaks,
Yeah,
obviously, and the
why don't
kids.
teachers work more? What is going on? Can we
I mean,
address this situation?
it makes me very jealous, to be honest. And I was like, I was bummed. I was honestly happy that I could just join them for like 2 days.
Sure.
So it was a very quick trip. But yeah, they're doing a lot of work and they're doing a lot of promoting. The second show that you're talking about, the stadium one, it definitely was. You know what it felt like? Oh no, I can't say that.
You can say it. Like
um,
8 people are going to see this, Erin. Don't worry about it.
Oh, whatever. Okay, great. Well, you've ever been in like a room or even like an established comedy club and like it just has this vibe where it is a harder room to work. So it just took a second for it to kick off.
Like
So
beer
I think
stat, beer, whatever.
like Bierstadt and like there's another comedy club around here, not
A big one, a warehouse style. Yeah.
yeah, where like it's not like what makes a good show is like the low ceilings, intimate. This one was very big because it's also used for like big gaming tournaments, like for computers and stuff.
Mm.
But it was awesome room, and they had an awesome stage, great lighting, and like they had so many people come on. But I think it was just a little stiff for some reason at first,
Yeah.
and that
You can
happens.
even, were you up at the High Dive at all this weekend?
I did, yeah. I went to High Dive. Gosh, what was Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that room is like when you pack it with people, it's actually surprisingly good, but
Yeah,
against the odds. It shouldn't be
yeah,
good. It's a great punk bar. It's
totally.
not really a great the lighting is weird. The sound's fantastic. It's got
Yeah.
very high ceilings. If there's not a lot of people there, yeah, very difficult. I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just a room. Yeah, I think I blame the room a little bit, but everyone did so great. It's
right.
just
Yeah, it's not the people on stage.
yeah,
It's the
totally.
environment. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So anybody out there building a club, don't make high ceilings,
No,
okay?
stop.
Pack them in. Have a nice this club I just did in Vegas. They had a this is genius. they had a curtain that they
Yeah.
close halfway. It like divides the back of the room. So like they don't. I was there for 2 shows. The first show, not a huge turnout, and so they had the curtain closed, and it felt full because they like artificially made the room half the size. And in the second show, a lot more people. They open up the curtain and they use the full room. What a cool
That's
idea!
so nice. That's
Yeah.
such a good idea. I
Yeah,
love
like
that.
floor to ceiling curtain. It was great. They have that at Laugh Boston actually too, in Boston. Yeah,
That's so nice. That's
yeah,
awesome. I love that. Also, yeah, if you're making a club, make it underground. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
like all the clubs that are underground are so good.
yeah. Anywhere where you might stab somebody is good for comedy.
I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Alleyways.
If you
Yeah.
think you could get away for it, get away
Yeah.
with it. All right. This is your last chance for questions online. I just want to shout out, thank you, Jason in the Springs, for being on here live and asking questions. Keep coming back. Mark in North Carolina, thanks for always being here. We're going to land this plane, Erin. Give me one pearl of wisdom. If you could time travel back to, actually, I have 2 questions. Sorry. We're going
Yeah.
to do 2 questions and we're going to tell people where to find you. My first question is, does the Silent Disco Show have an Erin? Meaning you used to go to that show in Fort Collins every week or month or whatever. Do you have like a regular, reliable audience person
Audience
that you've
person.
noticed?
Oh, we just started getting okay. So no, but we
Okay,
we do have a couple that's come to the last 3.
that
Yeah,
counts.
and it honestly made me so happy, and I was like, "This is working!" Yeah, you know.
That's so
So
exciting.
yeah, if you ever want to support a comic that you love, go to their shows. Like, be a regular because it means so much. Obviously, we have the regulars in Denver, like Dale and Dave, that are amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it was just nice to have that one couple. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
And then what was that other question that I just started to ask? Oh yeah, if you could go back and talk to yourself and
yeah.
before you started comedy and tell yourself one thing, what would you tell yourself?
Oh gosh. I would there was especially in the beginning, it stopped being fun for a bit. So I just like want to go back and be like, remember why you're doing this. Like it's for funsies. It's so easy to get wrapped up and like compare yourself and then just being like, I should be here, I should be doing that. Stop. Don't do that. And
Yeah.
also, if you're gonna do a competition, make sure that you're in the right mindset too. Comedy competitions are soul crushers.
Yes. And by right mindset, do you just mean don't worry so much about the outcome?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I totally agree with that. Because a lot of times you can't control it. It's not fair. Comedy's subjective, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah, all that stuff. Okay. Erin Rose, where can people find you?
Yay.
Other than the Vail Comedy Show later this year, vailcomedyshow.com. Check that out.
I'm so stoked for that, Mark. It's gonna be a blast. And then otherwise at Erin Rose 95 on my Instagram. That's where I post the most. I do go on Facebook, but I probably won't friend you back because I don't know you.
Okay.
Unless you're Jason or Mark, you know.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you. Everybody who tuned in, we'll be back next Monday. Thank you, Erin. Stick around for